John Calvin on Psalm 149. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song at his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their King. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. May the praise of God be in their mouths, and a double-edged sword in their hands, to inflict vengeance on the nations, and punishment on the peoples. God's children may not execute vengeance, but when called to it, there being an end of all moderation, when men yield themselves up to the impulse of their own spirits. The doctrine laid down in the passage admits of being rightly applied to our practice in this way, that what is here said of the two-edged sword applies more especially to the Jews, and not properly to us, who have not a power of this kind permitted, except, indeed, that rulers and magistrates are vested by God with the sword to punish all manner of violence. But this is something peculiar to their office. As to the church collective, the sword now put into our hand is of another kind, that of the word and spirit, that we may slay for a sacrifice to God those who formerly were enemies, or again deliver them over to everlasting destruction, unless they repent. Ephesians 6, verse 17. For what Isaiah predicted of Christ extends to all who are his members. Quote, He shall smite the wicked with the word of his mouth, and shall slay them with the breath of his lips. Unquote. Isaiah 11, verse 4. If believers quietly confine themselves within these limits of their calling, they will find that the promise of vengeance upon their enemies has not been given them in vain. For when God calls us to judgment written, he puts a restraint both upon our spirits and actions, so as that we must not attempt what he has not commanded. This is the glory of all his saints. Here the psalmist not only exhorts to the practice of piety, but gives us a support for our encouragement, lest we should think that we might be losers by exercising mercy and patience, as most men give vent to fury and rage, under the idea that the only way to defend their life is by showing the savageness of wolves. Although God's people, therefore, having nothing of the strength of the giant, and will not move a finger without divine permission, and have a calm spirit, the psalmist declares that they have an honorable and splendid issue out of all their troubles.